Hey there, it's Bobby Legs and welcome to another episode of Bobby Legs Loves Watches. And today I will be doing a comparison video between the Tudor Black Bay 58 and the Sinn U50. Recently, I did a comparison video between the U50 and the U1. I'll put a link in the description below. I will be making references to that video along the way. So if you haven't seen that comparison with the U50 and its bigger and older brother, the U1, please take a look at it when you can. So why compare these two? Well, both of these watches are in my collection and I love them very, very much. So why not compare them? Now, they have a couple of things that they share in common for sure, but they also have a lot of differences. So let's talk about some of the comparisons right away. Well, undoubtedly, they're both dive watches. They're marketed as so. They have characteristics of dive watches. They have a timing bezel. They have water resistance, a decent amount of water resistance, more than just what you need to do the dishes, you know. And they have lume. You know, there's dive watches. A lot of dive watches have lume. So, you know, that's what they have in common. And they also have something that's pretty specific to me, but maybe you've had this experience as well. I hated both these watches when I first laid eyes on it, especially the hands for both these watches. With the U50, its older brother, the U1, I just couldn't get it. I just didn't like these Lego hands on this watch. It just really bothered me, and I would never consider. I didn't consider for a while purchasing it because it wouldn't have any staying power in my collection. Same for the Tudor Black Bay 58. The snowflake hands, I hated the snowflake hands, but something happened with both these watches. Something clicked like a light switch. I became instantly obsessed with the hands. I hated them for so long that I just completely did a 360, and I love them. And so I knew that I was going to add these to my collection. At one point, I added the Black Bay 58 about a year and a half ago, and recently the U50. So very, very happy with these watches. They both can coexist in my collection. So, and you know, dimensions wise, they're practically similar. So the Black Bay 58 has a 41 millimeter case diameter. I'm sorry, a 39 millimeter case diameter. It's 11.5 millimeters thick, 47 millimeters lug to lug, and it's got a 20 millimeter lug width. The U50 has a 41 millimeter case diameter. It's 11.2 millimeters thick, also a 47 millimeter lug to lug, and also a 20 millimeter lug width. So very, very similar on wrist feeling. Now, let's get into some of the differences because there are many differences. And let's start with the movement. The Tudor has a in-house manufactured movement, the MT5402. It's got 70 hours of power reserve and it's COSC certified. The U50 has a Sellita 300 and it's not COSC certified. But at some point, it is definitely regulated, whether it's regulated by the time it gets to Sinn or Sinn does it regulating themselves. It is regulated. And I am happy to report that both of these watches keep extraordinary time. I mean, it's just that they're near perfect. So I'm very, very happy with that. But the main difference is that this is technically supposedly an in-house movement. It has a little bit of more power reserve, and this one is a manufactured movement where, you know, the movements are available to many brands across the board, and the power reserve is not as much. I believe it's somewhere around 40 hours power reserve, give or take a few hours, and also it does have a date function. You can see it at the 3 o'clock. This is just a no date version of the movement here. So also the thickness. Now both these watches are, I would say, very similar, but the U50 is slightly thinner. And what's the amazing thing about this is that this is a 500 meter water resistant dive watch, where the Tudor is a 200 meter water resistant dive watch. Now, I am not a professional diver. I will never go to those lengths, but I am very impressed with the fact that the Sinn is fitting or is capable of reaching the depths of 500 meters with water resistance and having the thin case that it does. Let's talk about the bracelet. Now, I am fully aware I don't have a steel bracelet here with the U50, but I have plenty experience with the Sinn tegmented bracelet, the H-Link bracelet. Here you can refer to the video between the U50 and the U1 comparison. The bracelets, let's just pretend as if there is a bracelet here. This is a rubber strap and it's very, very comfortable on top of that. But the bracelet on the Sinn is a 20 millimeter bracelet up top, and it tapers down to 16. The Tudor is a 20, but it tapers down to a 16. So this tapers down to 18. I'm sorry if I said 16, but this tapers down to 16 millimeters. The clasp on the Tudor is, I have no issues with it. I think it's very good. You do have these ceramic bearings right here, so you get this nice satisfying click. When you close it, it feels very, very secure. My main gripe with the H-Link bracelet that Sinn has is that the clasp is not up to par with the rest of the watch. Both bracelets are comfortable. I have no problems with comfort level with the watch and with the bracelet, but the clasp is a little lacking. I don't get that satisfying click, and it just feels a little cheap, I would say. Now, I know some people will gripe and say, what's the big deal about the clasp? It's not that big of a deal. True. I mean, the clasp is not going to ruin the watch for me, but there's so much great stuff that comes in this package, right? And we'll get to that with the technology that is available at the Sinn. But the clasp is just, you know, they just haven't done anything with the clasp, really. I mean, I don't know if it's sourced from somewhere else or not, but I wish they would just add or contribute to a little more R&D and get me a nice little clasp for that bracelet, because that is what is just missing in order to make this watch like a complete home run. I mean, it's a home run as it is, but I mean, it would hit the ball out of the stadium if that clasp was even 50% better, you know. Anyway, so I would have to probably give the nod to the Tudor on this with the bracelet and comfort level. But anyway, let's go on to technology, which this has a ton of the Sinn U50. You have this awesome tegmented application on this submarine steel case, and also with the bracelet, the same thing, and the bezel. It makes it that much harder to scratch. So you're gonna get this look for a really, really long time. I mean, the watch, I remember going to a Watch Buys roadshow, and there was a Sinn rep there, and he was showing us how impervious to scratching these cases were. He took out like a screwdriver and was just trying his best to scratch the case, and it didn't do a thing. And I was so impressed by that. So, you know, with the Tudor, you know, you have a mixture of brush and polish, and it's gonna, you know, especially on the flanks here, you know, you're gonna get some scratches and smudges, and that's okay. We wear our watches, it's not a big deal, but you're not gonna have that great technology as you do here with the Sinn. Other things, well, stylistically, obviously, they're two different looking watches. The Tudor Black Bay 58 is it's a dive watch, but I would almost say that it's almost like a dressy diver. So this is the kind of watch that I know the big thing is like, could you wear it in the boardroom or with a suit? Yes, I mean, you can definitely wear this. It has this beautiful black matte dial with the gilded indices and hands. It just looks very, very cool. It's got this modern vintage look to it that I love, and you could wear this with anything, pretty much, right? Here with the Sinn, you know, I mean, look, you can wear whatever you want. with a suit, right? I mean, I'd wear this with a suit, but this is more of a utilitarian type look. This has the look where it has one job to do. This is supposed to be a great dive watch, and that's what it looks like, and that's what it does. So definitely stylistically, you got a different look, you know, even with the hands, very, very different there. Now, the Tudor will retail at $3,700, where this one, the tegmented model with the tegmented bracelet, will retail at $2,920. As is right here with the rubber strap, it's $2,850. And just to go quickly with the rubber strap, even though I talked about it in the U50 versus U1 comparison video, very comfortable. Even though it looks thick, it's actually very comfortable. You do have a tegmented clasp here, no micro adjusts, but it's fine. You do have to cut the rubber links here to get the size that you want. But I enjoy the rubber strap actually more than I do the H-length bracelets. So that will tell you how I feel about the bracelet. I mean, the bracelet's fine. It's just not, I'm not wowed by the bracelet. So let's talk about, you know, if I have a preference between one or the other. You know, this is a comparison video. Is there a clear winner? Well, there is and there isn't. So let me explain. If you told me, hey, Bobby Legs, in this world that we live in now, the rules have changed and you could only keep one dive watch in your collection, which one of these two would it be? Well, I would have to say it would be the Tudor Black Bay 58, but it's because there's very sentimental, I have a very sentimental connection with this watch. I've discussed this before, but there's a couple of things about this watch that you know, remind me of very important people in my life. And so I will always keep this watch in my collection. It is still, at this time, my favorite watch in the collection. Another nod given the Tudor, or, you know, making this decision a little bit easier, is that I could wear this watch with anything. Like I mentioned before, you could wear it with a suit, casually, or however. This watch is very, very versatile, in my opinion, and in my life. It may not be versatile for you in your life, but for my life and my lifestyle, this is a very, very versatile watch. Now, if I didn't have the sentimental connection, right? And if you told me, Bobby Legs, you have to pick one watch, one diver, my head will tell me to pick the Sinn U50, because this watch does what it's supposed to do. This is a serious dive watch. It looks the part. It acts the part. It's got great tech. I love the tegmented technology. I love the fact that, you know, it makes it that much harder to scratch. I love the fact that it's made out of submarine steel. So cool. And I love the look as well. I mean, I love the look of both of them. But if I was thinking with my head, I would pick the U50. If I was thinking with my heart, I'd pick the Tudor Black Bay 58. In any case, I think either one, you come out on top. You're a winner in both, with any choice that you make. I mean, this is the Black Bay 58 for the price, I think, is one of the best dive watches. It comes from a brand that has huge brand recognition and history, and it just looks so great on wrist, right? And it's so comfortable. The tapering of from the 20 to the 16 on the bracelet, I mean, sometimes you just don't even realize it is on. It is just such a great looking watch. But the U50 is also great. You know, the U50 also fits awesome on wrist, and it almost feels like it disappears, right? And even though it's a 41 millimeter case diameter, it feels smaller than that. Maybe because the bezel is, the insert is a little bit thicker and there's a little less dial space. I don't know what it is, whatever illusion it is, but it feels almost exactly the same as my Black Bay 58. So, you know, If you came here wanting to get some facts, hopefully I gave you some facts, and hopefully I made this decision or helped you along if you were deciding between the two. I say go get both of them if you can do it. They're both great watches. They both serve really different purposes, and they both can coexist in your collection like they do with mine. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Do you have a preference, or do you want both, or neither? Or if you have a dive watch that you think is better than the two of them, please put it in the comments below. I would love to hear what you have to say. And I'll see you guys soon in the next video.